a dare, mamma mia, pensici tu. Se ti rugna lo chianchieri, tu vai, tu vieni, la salsiccia a mano teni. Se ci picchia la fantasia, ti sa se zia figliuzza mia. E la luna a mezzo mare, mamma mia, mamma retare. Figlia mia, cudai a dare, mamma mia, pensici tu. Se ti rugno fruttaiolo, i tu vai, i tu vieni, lo cicciola a mano teni. Se ci acchiappa la fantasia, ti ciccioli a figliuzza mia. E la luna a mezzo mare, mamma mia, mamma retari. Figlia mia, cudai a dare, mamma mia, pensici tu. Se ti rugna lo bomberi, i tu vai, i tu vieni, e la bomba a mano teni.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Mikey, show 5. Tonight's stir fry. Let's get cooking. Okay guys, so I got my brown rice going. Now, why did I choose brown rice and not white rice? Well, here's why. When you eat white rice, your body reads it as sugar. So it processes it as sugar. We don't want that. We want it to read it as brown rice, as a complex carbohydrate. This is going to give you sustainable energy. Now, for this stir fry, I am using brown rice. But from another health standpoint, wild rice is very good for you also. Actually, it's the healthiest out of the two rices. But for this stir fry, I prefer brown rice. It's still very, very good for you and a lot better than white rice. So if you ever have an option when you're out eating, say at an Asian place, always opt for brown rice because it's better for you in the long run. Okay, so now that we got the rice going, that's going to take probably about 15 minutes to cook. You're going to get the water to a boil, add the rice, stir it, let it simmer. We can start chopping our vegetables. We're going to start with carrots. Now, what do we know about carrots? Since a kid, you're told they're good for your vision. Yes, that's very, very true. Also, they have vitamin A, more specifically beta-carotene, which is very good for your skin, your hair, your eyes. If you're a teenager that's struggling with acne, beta-carotene is going to be very good for clearing up your skin. Now, let's start chopping this. Now, the amount of food that we're using tonight is going to be for serving probably three to four people. So to be noted. So let's chop here, get rid of the ends. So it's going to probably be the dirtiest parts. And I'm doing the carrots first into the stir fry because I don't like them too crunchy. I'm going to cook them a little bit, so they need to cook the longest so they kind of, soften up for us. Alright, let's add our carrots, guys. Put this into the pan. Oh yeah, get that oil going. Okay guys, we got the carrots in first. Like I said, you want them, I prefer to cook them a little longer so they're not as crunchy. Now if you notice in the pan, it's not just carrots right now. It's olive oil. There's the peppers that we used last week for the pasta, the spicy tomato sauce. And there's turmeric in there that we used in the third episode. And the reason behind this, I added these flavors ahead of time. So at the end of the meal, traditionally stir fries, you want to put teriyaki sauce or some kind of Asian sauce, oriental sauce. That has a lot of sodium in it and it's not very good. These items are natural and they are good for you in many, many ways that I went over in the past. So this is why we're using. This is going to be our flavor. This is going to supplement. So we don't have to use that teriyaki sauce in the long run. Next we're going to cut the celery. Alright guys, next is celery. Now I'm chopping this second and adding it to the pan second because I want this to cook second most. Now, what do we know about celery? Well, I'm going to tell you. Celery actually is an insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber promotes regularity. It also, as you can see, I pulled off some of the leaves off the other celery stalks, and here's the reason why. These little leaves right here, they contain vitamin C and potassium. So don't throw away those leaves. You want to hang on to them. A lot of people will just take it all off, but no, you want to keep on to that. Now celery is also good for you because most people know this, that if you eat celery by itself, you're burning more calories by eating it than actually there is calories in the celery. So that's a good thing, because the less calories, the better, right? Also to be noted, a great snack with celery, you get a little protein. I'm sure everyone's heard of ants on a log. You take celery, put a little peanut butter on it, get a little protein, and put some raisins on it. You get a little source of fruit there. So, all right, now these are chopped. We can add this to the stir fry. All right. Celery's going in, guys. To be noted, at this point too, your chicken breast that you have, dice it up so it's better in the stir fry so everyone gets a piece of it. But also, you want to cook the chicken a little bit, just on a low heat so it's on the outside. So when you go to add it to the stir fry, you can completely cook it all the way, but you don't want to get any cross-contamination. So cook the outside. Next on the list, we're going to start with the green onions and the snow peas. All right, let's chop these green onions real quick. The green onions and snow peas are going to go together. Now let's talk real quick, why do we want to eat green onions? Green onions are actually an insoluble fiber and a soluble fiber. So what that means is, insoluble I just told you about, promotes regularity. But the soluble fiber lowers blood cholesterol. So if you're having trouble maintaining a certain level of your cholesterol, eat green onions. Now, the snow peas we don't really have to chop. All you have to do is wash them off. Snow peas are very high in folate. So what's folate? What does that do? Who knows? Well, I'm going to tell you. They can aid in preventing birth defects. They're good in warding off cancer and help in relieving depression. So these little things right here can do a lot for you. Can. So make sure to implement them into your diet. All right, guys. So we got our 4 vegetables in here. We got our celery, our snow peas, our green onions, and our carrots. So we're going to cook this. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit on this. Check on my chicken here, that's looking good. I'm going to give that a little turn around here in a minute. Maybe actually put a cover on it because this rice is almost done. Get this quick stir around here. Now we get to talk about the most important part, tofu. I know, tofu, right? Gross. Well, let's talk about tofu. Originally when I was going to do this show, I was just going to do all tofu, completely vegan stir fry. But since I want to transition you guys, since a lot of Americans don't eat tofu, add a little bit of chicken, a little bit of tofu. And what people have the most problem with tofu is kind of the texture. It's not really flavor because there's not really much flavor in tofu. It's whatever you cook with, that's what it's going to taste like. Now, why do we want to eat tofu? Well, let's first talk about where it comes from. Tofu comes from soybeans. It's very high in protein. Actually, matter of fact, a half a cup of tofu is 18 to 20 grams of protein, which is 40% of what you want on your daily need. So this little item right here is packed with protein. So if you're looking to get a lot of protein with a little bit of calories, it's right here. It's not ground beef, it's not turkey, it's this. Surprisingly enough, this also has a lot of calcium, iron in it. So if you want strong bones and you want to ward off being anemic, it's right here too. Now, if you take a look at the Asian culture, they eat a lot of tofu. They don't have a lot of cases of cancer or heart disease or stroke or anything, and you would have to attribute that to their diet. That this is the only way that they could get rid of this, is by eating healthy. And they have a lot of tofu, soybeans in their diet. So this is a smart choice. Yes, I will admit, when I first started eating tofu, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. It takes a little while to get used to, but once you put it in a stir fry, you won't even notice it there, especially if you have a little bit of chicken in there. It goes on real well. Now, I'm not going to use this whole block. I'm only going to use about half of it. Now you're going to cut it up, little slivers like this. I'm going to cut them in half also. Here we go, like this. So they kind of look like chicken, right? The thing is, they got more protein than that. And I don't need to cook it that much because you could basically eat it raw. But I'm not going to do that because I want to get a little bit of flavor of what we're cooking here. Now let's give this one final chop. To be noted, when you're buying tofu, always buy the extra firm tofu. It's better at it. You'll see different divisions, I guess you could say. You buy extra firm, soft. Always go with the extra firm. It provides more nutrients that way. So let's add this to the tofu. I mean to the stir fry, excuse me. Alright, the tofu's in there. You see it's taking on that turmeric. Now we got that in there. Let's add the chicken, because it's pretty much cooked on the outside. This will ensure that it's not going to be dry, because we cooked it a little bit, but we didn't cook it all the way. So we're adding that. It's going to cook for a couple more minutes. Our rice is basically done at this point. Alright, there we are. Perfect. Let's lay that back down. While this is finishing cooking, let's talk about our dessert. Grapefruit. Actually, be more specific, ruby red grapefruit. Now, why do we want to eat it? If you recall from last week, the lycopene in it, it's good for preventing skin burns, skin rashes, things like that. Also to be noted, pair it with a dietary fat, which is cheese, olive oil, things like that. But on top of lycopene, what else could grapefruit do for us? Well, it can prevent coronary heart disease and reduces plasma cholesterol, which could lead to heart disease, stroke, things like that. Although it is bitter, this bitterness is also a little bit sweet. It's sweet for your body. It's very, very good for you. Healthy, easy, nutrient-rich, ready to eat. See you next week.
E la luna a mezzo mare, mamma mia, mamma redari. Figlia mia, cudai a dare, mamma mia, pensicci tu.